Hey folks, it's Paul Dame, the Vermont Republican Party chair, back here in Brandon, Vermont. A month ago, I held our very first outreach event as your new chair, and it was a tremendous success. So I just wanted to kind of give you an update of what's been going on since then. After the event was over, somebody had gone around and counted over 180 people had been there. I know we had about a dozen or so folks show up later. Even some folks show up kind of after everything was over. So realistically, we probably had about 200 people who came out in the freezing cold November rain on the first day of deer season with less than 1 week's notice. So that was an incredible success right there. And what was exciting to me was how many new people were there. I mean, there was probably about a dozen or so Republicans that I know from previous events, but there were a lot of new faces. A lot of young people were there. We had students come from Castleton. A couple students drove down from Champlain. We had younger families there with some young kids and baby carriers and under little umbrellas. So we had a lot more young people at this event than most other Republican events I've been to. And it was surprising to me, too, that we had a number of internationals there. I talked to a couple, took a picture with a couple who had immigrated from China, also some folks from the Czech Republic, saw a couple Romanians there. What's interesting is all three of those are folks who who had lived under communist regimes in other countries. And they were coming out because they were concerned about the direction that America is heading. We also had people drive from around New England. I mean, I met a couple from Massachusetts. Later on when we were eating out, I talked to a couple from New York who had come over and decided they were going to have a weekend away. They heard about the rally, said, "Hey, well, if we're going to spend a weekend away, let's go to Brandon, Vermont." And what was interesting about that too is the wife had admitted to me that she actually voted for Joe Biden in the 2020 election and voted straight Democratic ticket. And over the past couple months, seeing what's been happening, is really regretting her vote. She's going to be looking differently in how she's going to be voting in 2022. I also met some folks from right here in Brandon, somebody from Sudbury. Ironically, they knew my best friend's dad growing up, and they came as a true independent. They want to hear from us. They also brought a donation to the counter protesters as well. So it was a real true independent. So we had a great event that reached out beyond our usual Republicans. And that day, the day of the rally, I'd come into Brandon a little bit earlier. I was at a store here waiting in line, happened to see a friend of mine from high school, and he said, "Oh, you in town for the rally?" I said, "Yeah, you coming?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know if I can make it." He said, but I appreciate what you're doing. So I did tell him, well, not everybody appreciates what we're doing. And he said something that I thought was really important. He said, "Yeah, but there's a lot of us out here who stay pretty quiet, and we appreciate it." So, the day in the days after I had announced the Let's Go Brandon event, I got 25 emails through the state party website of people who were, let's just say, not appreciative. After the event, I replied to every single one of those people, explaining what I was trying to do, and sent them a link to the video, which is up on our YouTube channel. You can see it here. So they could actually hear for themselves the comments I made at the event. And about half of those people wrote back to me after I sent that out, and I just wanted to read a couple of those responses to you. So the first one, when I was telling them about all the new people there, they said, "That is great news." Somebody else wrote back, "Thank you for your response. I'm going to take the time to listen." And we had a couple people actually went ahead and read. One response says, "Thank you for personally getting back to me. I watched the video of your speech and thought you did a nice job with it. When I first contacted you, I perhaps overreacted some. I've been getting so sick of leaders from both parties who've done almost nothing for the citizens, but spend their time name-calling, spreading lies about the opposite party. The Let's Go Brandon slogan, I don't think helps the situation. However, I overreacted to that, and I'm sorry I got nasty in my message to you. That behavior on my part was no better than what I was railing against. You're a guy in a new job trying to energize the party, and I appreciate that." A couple other responses. "Hi, Paul. Your kinder, gentler response to my angry email made me chuckle out loud. Full credit for your response. And now, full disclosure, I'm not any kind of Republican. I'm a liberal Democrat. But I like to know what others are thinking and saying. So I signed up for Deb Bilodeau's newsletter, which it appears you've inherited. So your suggestion, if you're really interested in what I think would be positive messages for Vermonters, I'd stick with these items. Work is worthy of respect. Workers deserve respect and fair pay for what they're due. I think every Republican agrees with that. They went on, kids deserve a chance. Kids deserve training and job opportunities regardless of whether they go to college. Vermonters need qualified tradespeople who are rewarded for what they do. Every Republican I know agrees with that. Vermont kids need a solid education no matter what town they live in. They need opportunities when they're ready to enter the workforce. Every Republican agrees with that too. Here's another letter. I'm a centrist Democrat, and I'm a supporter of Phil Scott and his moderate policies and pandemic response. I agree with some of the things in your speech, particularly regarding taxation. I currently pay over $10,000 a year in property taxes on a 3-bedroom house. And I pay Vermont income tax on Social Security benefits while my wife is working. Healthcare is a concern as well. That person sounds like a Republican voter to me, not a centrist Democrat. So even with the people who were initially critics of the Let's Go Brandon thing, even with those folks, this event was a huge success. Now, just recently, I met with our state executive committee, and they authorized us to give away over $1,200 to a local charity in Brandon. And I'm happy to report they just cashed that check. Now, that money represents over 100% of the profits that we got on that very first order of shirts, hats, bumper stickers that were sold either the day of the rally or were pre-sold before. Now, when we got to the rally, we sold out of everything almost immediately, and we took orders. We just put in a second order, and those should be hopefully getting shipped out in the next week or so. So if you didn't get any, there's still an opportunity to order online. Just go to vtgop.org. And even after the event, weeks after the event, we had a nice bump in fundraising, including bringing on more monthly donors. And I have had a few personal conversations with some major donors who are really interested to see what else is going to be happening moving forward. So last month was a huge success, right? We reached some people who are getting involved for the first time. We boosted our donor support. We were even able to soften the hearts of some of our critics. And if anybody out there wants to continue to show your support, you can donate online at www.vtgop.org. Just make sure to subscribe to our channel. That way you'll get future updates, videos that we're doing. See any of our past videos as well about Let's Go Brandon or other stuff that we're doing. So thanks again to all of you who stuck with me, supported me as your party chair. I hope you'll continue to support us here at the party as we move into an exciting election year here in 2022. Let's go.